Hi, how are you? I'm Barbara from the group The Spinning Leaves, and I'm here with my friend Lucy from
Hi.
Mad Dragon, and she came over today to film making chapstick, me making chapstick in my home here in Philadelphia. And it starts off with this beeswax. I get it from these Mennonite women outside of the city. That's where I get my honey also. And it's a place called King's Herbal Milk. And the first thing you do is you put the beeswax in like a Pyrex jar, like this, and then you put it, I'm gonna have on the stove some water boiling, and so I'm gonna put the Pyrex jar with the beeswax in there, and then it will melt. That's the longest. That's the part that takes the longest of making chapstick. So on this table, there are all the ingredients that we need to make chapstick. And the first one, it's a half a cup of olive oil that's been infused with rose, calendula, and mint. And you can do a cold infusion, which is you can use half a cup and let it sit for 2 weeks, or you could do a warm infusion, which you just add the plant to the oil and heat it up on the stove, but the trick of it is to not let it burn, and it heats up really quickly, and so you need to take it you just need to listen to it kind of, because it will start to sizzle, and as soon as you hear it sizzle, take it off. While the beeswax is heating up, melting on the stove, I'm going to set up my chapstick tubes and my jars because it can get kind of messy. I use just construction paper, cardboard if I have one set up. So that way when it spills, then it won't go through the table. And then you just set up your chopsticks like this. And see, they're like a regular chapstick tube. There's a stick in there, and you can twist it and it'll go up and down. You can get them at various places. I usually just order mine online. Usually 1 ounce of beeswax makes, I think, about 21 chapstick tubes. So unfortunately, I don't have 21 chapstick tubes left in my collection, so I'm going to use some jars too. Okay, so one of the other ingredients for making chapstick is you can add some essential oils. I like to use some tea tree oil because it has healing properties, and I also like to use rose water because I really like the smell of it. And in addition to the teaspoon, which also I'll do about a half teaspoon of rose water and then a half teaspoon of tea tree oil, and then I'll use just a little smidget of this honey, which is the same place where I get the beeswax from, outside of Philadelphia, from the awesome women from King's. And so I'm going to do a half teaspoon of rose water right now and add it into a bowl in this little dish. It doesn't need to be like exact. And I think that the tea tree oil is really the only thing that I use that isn't totally local. So I set that aside right there. And you can smell it. It smells minty.
Smells really good.
And then here's my honey. So I am just gonna even though it looks like it's a teeny amount, it really goes a long way. And raw honey has a lot of really great medicinal properties as well. So I'm going to add that into this. And eventually, when I add the olive oil and everything, and mix it with the beeswax, it will make a really great blend for the chapstick. That's it. And that's the beeswax that's still melting. Okay, so with that rose water and the tea tree and the honey, I'm just mixing it up as I'm waiting here to make sure that I'm going to be able to add it really easily, and it all melts together really good. And eventually I'm going to pour this into the chapstick concoction. You want to come and look at the melted beeswax. That's what it looks like. But I'm going to add this oil and see it hardens inside. Looks like that. And so I take this chapstick, not to be confused with chapstick, and I'm going to wait until this gets melted. I started getting interested in plants when I was working with a program out in California through this naturalist, and I learned about a plant called mugwort, which enhances, one of its properties that it's known for is that it enhances dreams, and I think that that's one of the most mind-blowing things. I went for a quest for it and couldn't find it, and then I ultimately found out that it grows like a weed around here, and up in the northeast region. And then years down the road, Mike, who I sing with, and I were living on a farm in New Hampshire, and there was an herb garden outside. And then I guess the rest is history after that. Plants are really amazing to me because they have relationships with each other, and I believe in them for healing in many ways. So now that beeswax is totally melted, I'm going to take out the Pyrex jar. This is where we have to start to kind of work quickly. I'm going to add my essential oils. Mix it up. I'm going to mix it up like this. And then I need to start pouring. And just like this. And like I said, don't be surprised if you make a mess. Usually it spills a little bit. So just with 1 ounce of chapstick, you can make a whole bunch. 1 ounce of beeswax, you can make a whole bunch of chapsticks. It's a fun. I'm not a very good pourer, obviously. Some people, sometimes I'm sure you can get some kind of equipment so it makes it really neat. But I like to try to fill it up so it's beyond the stick that's in the middle, as close to the top as you can. And then these dry pretty quickly, so it's a fun project because there's also really fast results to it. The longest thing that takes, if you want to do a cold infusion of the olive oil, then it is, you wait 2 weeks with the herbs in there. I have a friend, Cass, who's in a band called the Sisters 3, and she's kind of who I like to do plant projects with. And she's also, she likes leaving her plants that are infusing in the olive oil sitting out to soak up the rays of the moon. Okay, so this is my last chapstick tube. So after this I'm going to start putting it in the jars. And I guess that's all this will be a jar that will be like a year's worth of chapstick for whoever gets these jars. It can also be used, because there are healing properties in the calendula and the honey and the olive oil, it'll be good for any kind of sores on hands and things like that, to keep your chapped hands, chapped skin, dry skin, things like that. And that's how you make chapstick. So, your end product, let's see, ta-da, chapstick. I started a blog called You Be Well, and we also will have these at spinning wave shows and things like that. I guess that's it. Thank you for watching.